What if the man who saved the world was slowly dying, and no one knew it? At the height of his fame, Tony Stark seems untouchable. He's the genius billionaire behind the Iron Man suit, the hero who revealed his identity to the entire world, and the man everyone wants a piece of. Governments want his technology. Rival corporations want to copy it. The public worships him. Instead of protecting his invention, he proudly refuses to hand it over to the military, claiming that no one else is capable of replicating his technology. To Tony, the Iron Man suit represents peace. But to others, it's a dangerous monopoly. During a tense government hearing, Tony humiliates politicians and rivals alike, proving that countries across the world are years away from creating anything close to his armor. Far away in Russia, another story quietly unfolds. An old physicist named Anton Vanko lies on his deathbed, surrounded by poverty and forgotten dreams. Before dying, he passes his life's work to his son, Ivan Vanko. In a heartbreaking moment, Ivan watches his father take his final breath. But grief quickly transforms into rage. He blames the Stark family for stealing everything his father helped create decades ago. As he stares at old newspaper clippings celebrating Tony Stark, a dangerous idea begins to form. This isn't just revenge. It's a mission to destroy the Stark legacy itself. Back in America, Tony's life continues to spiral beneath the surface. The arc reactor embedded in his chest keeps the shrapnel near his heart from killing him, but the palladium powering it is slowly poisoning his blood. Every test shows the same result. The toxin levels are rising, and there is no cure. Knowing he may not have much time left, Tony begins making increasingly reckless choices. One of the most emotional and underrated parts of the film comes when Tony appoints Pepper Potts as CEO of Stark Industries. On the surface, it feels like a promotion. In reality, it's Tony quietly putting his affairs in order. Meanwhile, Stark Industries faces pressure from a rival weapons manufacturer led by the ambitious Justin Hammer. He's constantly trying to prove he's as brilliant as Stark, but every attempt only highlights how far behind he really is. He's obsessed with becoming Tony Stark, and that obsession will eventually make him vulnerable to the wrong person. The first major turning point arrives during the Monaco Grand Prix. Tony attends the event expecting a day of luxury and excitement. Instead, he walks directly into a deadly trap. Suddenly, an electrified whip slices through speeding race cars, turning the track into chaos. Emerging from the destruction is Ivan Vanko, wearing a crude but terrifying arc reactor-powered suit. The attack is shocking not just because of its violence, but because it proves someone has successfully recreated Stark's technology. The battle that follows is one of the movie's most memorable sequences. Tony scrambles to suit up, while surrounded by wreckage and screaming spectators. As Iron Man clashes with Whiplash in front of a global audience, sparks fly, metal tears apart, and for the first time since becoming Iron Man, Tony encounters someone who can genuinely challenge him. Eventually he defeats Ivan, but something feels wrong. The victory seems too easy. And that's because Ivan's real goal was never to win that fight. While imprisoned, Ivan achieves exactly what he wanted. The world now knows Iron Man technology can be duplicated. Tony Stark is no longer unique. Destroying a hero's reputation can be more effective than destroying the hero himself. As Tony's health worsens, his behavior becomes increasingly erratic. During his extravagant birthday party, he drunkenly wears the Iron Man suit and turns the celebration into a reckless spectacle. It's one of the most uncomfortable scenes in the movie because beneath the humor lies genuine tragedy. Tony isn't partying because he's happy. He's spiraling because he's terrified. Then comes one of the film's most iconic moments. James Rhodes, Tony's closest friend, finally reaches his limit. Wearing one of Tony's suits, he confronts him in an explosive battle inside Stark's mansion. The fight feels less like a superhero battle and more like two friends desperately trying to save each other. Rhodes ultimately takes the armor and delivers it to the military, unknowingly setting the stage for the birth of War Machine. At his lowest point, Tony isolates himself. Everyone around him seems disappointed or angry. His health continues to decline. Even Nick Fury appears less interested in recruiting him as a hero and more interested in evaluating whether he's stable enough to trust. Then the film delivers one of its most underrated and emotional discoveries. Tony revisits old recordings of his father, Howard Stark. For most of his life, Tony believed his father never truly cared about him. But while examining Howard's old work, he uncovers a hidden message left specifically for him. Howard reveals that Tony is his greatest creation and that future technology will allow him to complete a project that Howard himself never could. It's a beautiful moment because it completely changes Tony's understanding of his father. What once seemed like neglect is revealed to be belief. Howard always knew Tony would surpass him. Using this hidden clue, Tony creates a new element that replaces the deadly palladium in his arc reactor. The sequence is visually stunning, filled with roaring machinery and flashes of energy. More importantly, it symbolizes Tony's rebirth. But while Tony has been rebuilding himself, Ivan Vanko has been rebuilding his revenge. Now working with Justin Hammer, Ivan secretly develops an army of robotic drones. Hammer believes he's finally creating a military force capable of rivaling Iron Man. What he doesn't realize is that he's merely a pawn in Ivan's larger plan. The climax unfolds during the Stark Expo, where celebration suddenly transforms into chaos. Hundreds of weaponized drones attack civilians while Rhodes, now operating as War Machine, finds himself trapped under Ivan's control. The situation spirals out of control faster than anyone expects. Everywhere people look, metal soldiers rain destruction from the sky. What follows is pure superhero spectacle. Iron Man and War Machine fight side by side against overwhelming odds. Explosions light up the night. Drones swarm from every direction. Repulsor blasts streak through the air like lightning. It's the payoff to everything the movie has been building toward. Then Ivan reveals his final form, encased in a heavily armed suit designed specifically to destroy Tony Stark. The final confrontation is brutal and relentless. Yet despite all his technology and hatred, Ivan ultimately fails to understand something crucial. Tony's greatest strength was never his armor. It was his ability to evolve. In the end, Tony and Rhodes combine their firepower in a devastating attack that destroys Ivan's suit. Defeated and knowing he has lost, Ivan activates a self-destruct sequence, turning his entire drone army into bombs. The heroes barely escape as explosions consume the battlefield. When the dust settles, Tony is alive, stronger than before, and finally at peace with himself. His friendship with Rhodes is repaired. His relationship with Pepper grows deeper. And that's where this story leaves us, with one question still echoing long after the credits roll. Was everything destined to happen this way, or could it all have ended differently? Let me know what you think in the comments, because the best stories never truly end, they continue in the conversations they leave behind.